The Garden Report is brought to you by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network.
Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to a Garden Report after the Celtics concluded their road trip with a loss, a 1-2 road trip where they met challenges throughout, shot poorly from three in all three games, 33% in the first one, spent much of tonight below 30% here in Philadelphia in this 106-103 loss to the Sixers after suffering their worst three-point shooting night to that point in Minnesota. High volume of threes in all three games. Conversation point after the game, as it often is with this team. Here's what Joe Mazzulla had to say after, when asked about how many threes the Celtics shot in this game.
I think I was just finished reading a great article that you wrote in 2016 that the Celtics shot too many threes, and they shot 42, and that was 7 years ago. And they only shot 5 more tonight, and they lost 121 to 114, and you blame the offense, but not the defense. So, what's your fascination with too much threes for the last 7 years?
Well, it's been 7 years.
2016, it's 2023. I just read it. It was a great article.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So,
But it was like, are the Celtics settling for too many threes? You said that 7 years ago. You're ahead of the curve.
I am ahead of my time.
So an interesting exchange there with Boston Globe reporter Gary Washburn, of course on the A-List podcast here on CLNS Media. Running joke between the two. I think there's some lightheartedness to the exchange there. But this time going back and trying to grab an article from the past and use Gary's words against them, it was definitely an odd response to the question, especially when Gary, I think, came in with a little bit of lightheartedness there, although challenging, although poking at the perception or approach by the Celtics to be among the league leaders in three-point volume, and they are to start this year. Almost half their three-point attempts coming from three, or their field goal attempts coming from three so far this year. Their free throw rate, middle of the pack, and they've mixed in post-ups, mid-rangers, as well as some isolation drives to give their offense some diversity. And Joe's assessment after the game that they are finding multiple ways to score, I tend to agree with. I do think if you look at the entire slate right now, the Celtics have grown slightly less reliant on the three. And I think that's a big slightly. I think they're very close in terms of the amount of threes they're taking and their reliance on that shot to drive their offense. They start this year the best shooting team in the league through their 5-0 start. You wonder what's going to happen when they come down to earth a little bit here. In the last two games they did, and they lost. So you're wondering, how much will this team's fortune swing on its three-point shooting? The approach tonight improved throughout the flow of the game, and the Celtics, of course, went on a 10-0 run late, got the last shot to tie this game, and it was a good one from Kristaps Porzingis, who said that he stepped into it a little too passively, like it was a mid-ranger, to use his words, and he knew it was going to come up short. But a clean look where Harris flew by him, and emblematic of, I think, the Celtics' offensive execution late in this game, but that wasn't the case for much of it. I think early they settled often for threes. Philly did too, which led to a bit of a back-and-forth one-possession game through that first half. Philly's rim protection was great. The Celtics came and went. They swapped Porzingis and Horford a little bit, especially after halftime when Porzingis picked up 2 quick fouls. They went to Horford inside and got a little bit better rim protection, overall defensive versatility. And Porzingis ends this game with 29 points. They did a much better job staying him up late here. And he's the guy who should be shooting more threes. About midway through the third quarter, he got pick and pop look from Jaylen Brown. And I look at the stat sheet and I'm like, that's just his third three. This is the guy who should be shooting 8, 9, 10 threes a game. And, Boston was trying to use him in different spots. He did a great job playing the post in the second quarter, which gave the offense a new layer there. And I think stuff like that led to Joe considering this a good effort, did a lot of good things in this game, and pointed to a bunch of areas that they did well when asked.
FanDuel is the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
even with the fourth quarter execution, he received the question about that, and he said he liked it. The bench, he liked it, and we'll get to that in a minute. So that's what I had a problem with. The back and forth with Gary is going to stand out. This is something Joe did throughout much of last year, and maybe it doesn't matter, but I wonder if it's the message to the team that they did good things, the positive reinforcement. We know what this team's capable of at its best. I think the challenge with this group is getting to that point often, and the fact that they're struggling with that a little bit here early, albeit against some really good teams. Philadelphia, the second best team in the East, 6-1 now. A great new system under Nick Nurse, and they're playing hard. The MVP's on the other side, of course, and it's a road game. So you understand them losing at some point. And Minnesota had the number one defense in the league. But this was a machine on the Celtics end here, and the Minnesota game was good. For this game, you end up down 14 midway through the fourth quarter, and you rally late, but you were effectively out of it by then, and that's why you end up losing this game. Joe pointed to the second quarter as the issue that sunk the Celtics here. Of course, the defense in that quarter, a disaster. I think the Sixers shot 15 of 28 there, and if that's what did them in, that's what Joe's leaning on as a point of improvement out of this one. But overall, he was satisfied with their play in this one. And the late comeback, is it any solace? Let me know below. And what you think of just the overall approach by Joe Mazzulla so far early in the schedule. Some high highs, a few lows recently. Where are the Celtics going to take this going into a back-to-back on Friday and Saturday, where their front court depth will be challenged even more if Al Horford's going to sit out one of those games. The Nets on Friday, the opener of the in-season tournament, and then Saturday against what's always a tough Raptors team back in Boston. Check out more of our coverage here in Philadelphia coming your way here on Celtics All Access, all the post-game reaction on CLNS Media. And for now, I'm Buddy Manning. This has been the Garden Report. Celtics lose 106-103 to the 76ers here and fall to 5-2.
Ever wish you could navigate the betting field with the confidence of a pro? Enter Odds Are. They're not a sports book, but they're the sports betting advisor you always needed. It's like having a playbook for smarter bets right in your pocket. I've been absolutely loving the experience, and I think you will too, especially since Celtics All Access listeners get a 30-day free trial. Elevate your game day and join the smart betting revolution. Go get it at oddsr.com/Celtics. That's oddsr.com/Celtics.